Joe Tipton Edits, did a bunch of great reporting on the Tay Kinney commitment. He chose Kansas over Arkansas, Louisville, Kentucky, to name a few. Everybody wanted Tay Kinney, hotly contested recruitment. We have a reaction video up to his choice of going to Kansas. We have another video up this morning because Tay Kinney said he's now recruiting Tyron Stokes to come with him. And this is our third of three Tay Kinney videos on Tay Kinney Day on the Sleepers channel. But something very unorthodox happened here when he committed to Kansas. He commented on where he would have gone if he didn't choose Kansas. That's something I don't know that any recruit has done. I don't know that I've ever seen this before. Kid commits and immediately is like, oh, yeah, I would have gone to these if not that. But anyways, it's interesting to say the least because Tay Kinney said, quote, if not Kansas, it would probably be Arkansas or Louisville. Those two. End quote. So Tay Kinney told Joe Tipton right after committing to Kansas. Now, the obvious observation here would be that Kentucky was not even in the final three in Tay Kinney's mind. Reminder, this is the same Tay Kinney that both Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey scheduled first thing after midnight meetings with in Atlanta, Georgia, at Tay Kinney's apartment outside of OT. They said, where can we be in the new period? We're going to Atlanta to see Tay Kinney. That is our first move. And in the end, neither gets Tay Kinney. I don't even think Bill Self visited him after this, and he gets Tay Kinney. And not only did they not get him, but Kentucky wasn't even a serious consideration. It sounds like Louisville, who led the recruitment the entire time, it sounds like at least was very close to being the destination. And if not Louisville, it would have been John Calipari or Arkansas. Help me make sense of this. What does this mean?
I it's weird because like Tay Kinney, like on one hand, it could mean like maybe this isn't over yet. Like maybe 3 months later, he like reopens his like recruitment and it's like Arkansas versus Louisville. Who knows? To me, like this is a win for Cal because my takeaway from it, if Cal was an Adidas school, he probably gets Tay Kinney, right? Like I think a large portion of why if you just look at it through that lens, it's like two Adidas schools, one Nike school. The Nike school is in the top three. If it like, I'm sure Adidas told him you got to go to an Adidas school. That eliminates Cal, but if Cal had the Adidas ties, he probably gets them. If you're Kelsey, probably text him still. Send him like a little you up text. How are things going? Rock chalk. You know what I mean? Just like send a little you up text, see where we're at. If I'm Kelsey, by the way, I also text Tyron Stokes. Because that's one of the other quotes taken he's had about like how he wants Tyron to come play with him. If you're Kelsey, you're still very involved in Tyron Stokes. Maybe you get Tyron, maybe you can convince Tay Kenny to flip. But ultimately, my biggest takeaway from this is I'm starting to believe Mark Pope doesn't get it, and that's a problem. But I'm starting to believe he doesn't get it. And him being like you mentioned, like they were like first to Atlanta, Georgia for the midnight in home thing. It's clear he wasn't involved in this. If you finished top three, and by the way, I don't did Arkansas get a visit out of Tay Kenny?
Yes, he
They
went
did.
to Arkansas, or I think maybe Cal went to him. One of the two happened like the last week before he chose Kansas.
It feels like Self and Cal like went after Tay Kenny, but didn't go after him the way Pope and Kelsey did. And it also, I mean, obviously Self got Tay Kenny, and then Cal is top three. When it comes to recruiting, like I'm starting to believe like Mark Pope just is a tad delusional, which he kind of is with everything he does, which is also what I love. So I'm kind of stuck in this weird, like, do I love it? Do I hate it? I don't know anymore thing.
I think he's a little naive. And look, we might be overreacting. Hand up. We do that all the time. I do that all the time, and I'll own that if true. But I raised these concerns first 2 weeks ago. I came on the channel and people were lighting me up in the comments about it. I think it made its way to a board somewhere where Kentucky fans were like, "Get a load of this idiot." Look, say what you want. My interpretation of this entire 2026 cycle for Mark Pope has been him throwing his hat in the ring for elite players, feeling like he's in a good spot for them, only to not be at all. Now, Tyron Stokes is the big elephant in the room because Tyron Stokes is the best player in this class, and the story all along has been that he's likely going to Kentucky. If that happens, how could I even criticize this, right? Hard to make the point that Mark Pope doesn't have a good read on things when he gets the number one player in the class. That would solve all, it would just make up for all the other mistakes or misses. However, again, I said this 2 weeks ago. In the 2 weeks since I said that, it's now come out that it's not just Kentucky favored for Tyron Stokes and that it's actually a three-horse race and it's a total toss-up. It's a toss-up between three teams. So again, I kind of made the point at the time, if the one guy that everyone says is leaning you is actually the most unreliable narrator in the class, what does that say about your ability to read a room? Like Tyron Stokes might be behind closed doors being like, yeah, it's going to be Kentucky. You shouldn't believe Tyron Stokes. You should never feel good about anything Tyron Stokes says. He's a total wild card, right? That's well documented at this point. So if all the people who aren't unreliable narrators, if all the 2026 recruits that you actually can get a good read on are all being like, yeah, it's probably not you. Like, I appreciate the interest, but it's probably not you. Then that says something about where this is in the Mark Pope era in year two. And look, maybe there are just learning lessons here for him. I still, the one thing I would say definitively made no sense to me from Pope's recruitment of Tay Kinney was, why was he the first visit at midnight? And then many follow questions after that. How do you show up late for it? That's all-time incompetence. But again, by the time that visit happened, anyone smart on the national side that isn't tied to Kentucky coverage was saying that Kentucky was out of it for Tay Kinney. So the surprise there for me wasn't, oh, he's late. The surprise there for me was, why is this your first visit? A kid that all reports say you're not going to get. Like most coaches, Matt Painter was still in it for Tay Kinney at that point. Guess what? He wasn't visiting Tay Kinney because he could read a room and move his efforts elsewhere. So, it's funny to me because I don't think the takeaway from a Tay Kinney commitment to Kansas should be that Mark Pope is this big loser, but it says something about his ability to read the room here. The bigger loser is Pat Kelsey. It's just kind of, I don't know. We don't even get to the point of saying that Pat Kelsey is a loser without doing the Pope stuff first. Lastly, on the Pope front, I just want to say this. The way that KSR is branding this, and I don't even know who wrote this. I'm not even going to click the link. No offense to them. But I just don't want to like blast a person for this. KSR's official Twitter account is promoting Tay Kinney's choice of Kansas as, quote, Pat Kelsey whiff. As if it's not also a Mark Pope whiff. Like, what? You very seriously wanted Tay Kinney for a long time. So there's this like weird interpretation from Kentucky fans of this result being a win for Kentucky, and that like Mark Pope went to the apartment to convince Tay Kinney not to go to Louisville, and whatever that altercation did ultimately steered him away from Louisville. Maybe that happened, and it's a bad look for Pat Kelsey if so. But Tay Kinney's now at Kansas saying, I'm going to bring Tyron Stokes with me. That's the only guy in the class Kentucky thinks they're getting. And we don't even know if they're right. But now you've got Bill Self's number one commit being like, I'm bringing Tyron Stokes with me. And Kentucky fans are celebrating this. It's insane to me here. There's nothing to celebrate with this development if you're a Kentucky fan. Dion, how's your job going?
Beginning of the school year, everything's like a little up and down. One of the biggest issues we've had is we can't find any uniforms for our girls' sports teams.
That's a difficult thing to find a solution for. I know damn well all about that because I got a daughter that just turned 2. She's into sports and she's already outgrowing every little piece of sports apparel she had. Thankfully, I know Clara Kate Creations. Clara Kate Creations was started by a former high school teacher who quit because it wasn't cost effective to send new twins and a 2-year-old to daycare. She found it easier to make girls sports apparel than finding it to buy. And I am so thankful that she exists because if we have an old shirt of Murph's that she's outgrown, we can send it in and she takes that piece of apparel that means something and upcycles it into an outfit that Murphy can now wear as she grows up. She makes great stuff. It's honestly kind of like your fullback's wife, Kyle Juszczyk. Is that how you say it? She does that. But honestly, I think Clara Kate's coming for Mrs. Juszczyk's job.
I love that. I'm a big Juice guy. Love his wife. Love Clara Kate even more than both of them, though.
You can send in your own custom ideas and she will come up with a design. She's just the best. Look up Clara Kate Creations on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and more.
So I think I get it now. I'm gonna combine what Pope did with what you've said with what Tay Kinney has said, and I think I understand what actually happened here.
Okay, what
Uh,
happened? Please explain it to me because I'm still so confused.
Tyron's going with Tay, and that's why they prioritized Tay Kinney because the route to Tyron was to get Tay Kinney, and that's why Pope went at midnight.
Oh.
And that's why they fought in the living room because they knew not only did we miss out on Tay Kinney, we just whiffed on the biggest recruit in the class.
This might be one of the biggest wins for the body language PhD movement in years. If you are correct with this, if you sniff this out before anyone, if Tyron Stokes goes to Kansas because Tay Kinney did it, and that's what Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey were doing, that would make perfect sense.
And that's why Tay Kinney didn't go to them because they actually fought over Tyron Stokes. They weren't fighting over Tay Kinney, which would make Tay Kinney feel bad and be like, you know what, I'm just going to go to Kansas.
Wow. This is fascinating. I love this theory. I think it makes everything make sense.
The puzzle makes sense if you look at it this way because it's like why would they be fighting in the living room of the number 17 recruit in the country like at midnight? Also, why did no one go visit Tyron? Also, because Tyron was probably doing Oklahoma drills during two a days at this time. But like why did no one go to Tyron's house? Oh wait, now Tay Kenny's talking about Tyron just immediately after committing to Kansas. It's because these two are probably it's a Cade and Jasper Moreno. Like Caden, Jasper, they flirt back and forth. Next thing you know, they both commit to Kentucky. Pope's on the opposite side of it this year.
Yeah, the only thing is you better hope this isn't Jasper Johnson, Caleb Wilson.
Yes.
Because we heard repeatedly those two want to play together. Those two are a package deal. Jasper goes one place and then Caleb Wilson's like, haha, who cares? Like, which could very still well happen with Tyron. But yeah, I found it funny, like this being interpreted as like Kentucky laughing at their rival. Meanwhile, the biggest bad wolf that could get in the way of things is now like trying to take your priority target. And you've gone from leading for them to in a dead heat with two other schools in a week. Like, ominous. But with all that said, we've been blasting Pope in this video. The biggest loser here is Pat Kelsey,
For sure.
who led for Tay Kenny the entire time, ends up losing, and then immediately is just, oh, if not Kansas, I would have gone to Louisville. Like, how are you feeling if you're a Louisville fan hearing those words?
I think Louisville has to be in the worst spot, right? Like, I mean, I saw a lot of memes. They were calling him not Louisville fans necessarily, but people were calling him Pat Whiff on Twitter throughout the weekend. It feels ominous if you're a Louisville fan at the moment, but at the same time, um, they have Michael Brown, Adrian Woolley, Isaac McNeely, like the list goes on and on. Like I think Kelsey's gonna get dudes. Maybe he missed out on Tay Kinney. It certainly seems like he missed out on Tyron Stokes because he missed out on Tay Kinney. Um, but he'll come up with something. I like Kelsey, but I don't know how he lost this recruitment.
I mean, I don't think the altercation helped him.
No.
Like, looking back at it, do you think that is the moment everything flipped?
If if Tyron Stokes commits to Kansas the way I now firmly believe he will, by the way, 5 minutes ago I said Tyron was going to USC on a different video. But after listening to you speak and thinking about the take any stuff, I do think he's going to Kansas. If they fought because they knew they were losing out on Tay Kinney and Tyron Stokes, that does feel like why a reason like Tay Kinney wouldn't want to go to Louisville. Like you came to my house at midnight and you're arguing over Tyron and you're arguing in front of my mother. Like she works at 8 a.m. tomorrow. I got class. I got stuff to do, and you guys want to yell and scream at my apartment? Like, no, I do believe that's why Pat Kelsey missed on this one. I think now, if you're KSR and or like a Kentucky fan, did Mark Pope start that fight on purpose?
That's what I'm saying. There is a conspiracy theory that Mark Pope's entire reason he was there was to make sure Pat Kelsey doesn't get him. Which,
It,
if that is what happened, job well done.
I now I'm in two conspiracy theories that, and one of them is true. Either Tyron goes with Tay Kinney and they fought because they knew they were missing out on both, or Mark Pope actually did nothing wrong and did everything on purpose to fight in that living room so that Tay Kinney and his family like think him and Kelsey are crazy.
I mean, it would be so funny and so awesome if it was real that Mark Pope's first priority in the new period was to go sabotage Pat Kelsey.
Amazing.
That would be, it would make Mark Pope my number one favorite coach of all time. If he ever comes out and is like, yeah, I did that. I staged a fight to make sure Pat Kelsey wouldn't get his number one target. That's an all-time Godfather badass move. I think I've joked about this on the channel, but it's honestly kind of not a joke. I have a whole idea for a TV show centered around college basketball coaches, but Breaking Bad. Like basically what happened to Walter White being like a chemistry teacher turned meth dealer. It's that, but John Calipari's our protagonist, right? Like that'd be great. 5 seasons of this like mild mannered want to win a national championship guy into like I'll kill my point guard's mom so that he has to sit out a semester. Like that'd be sick. This would be a plot point in my show. This would be a plot point in my show. Like I'm just gonna go fight my rival instead of recruiting my own players. And it works. Like that's great. It'd be a great episode. Season finale, honestly. However, it's just so absurd. I can't believe it's real. And also, if it was real again, I'd be laughing my ass off, loving this forever. Are we still laughing if at the end of this cycle, Mark Pope's recruiting class has 0 commits in it? Like, can you really be celebrating we kept our rival from getting their target, but we have a 0-man class?
That's the thing. Like, and I don't want to like exaggerate this or come off too strong or like try to put too much pressure on Pope. Tyron Stokes might be the biggest recruit in Mark Pope's like career. If he doesn't get Tyron Stokes, I think we look at this whole thing way different. If he gets Tyron, he looks like a genius. If he doesn't get Tyron, like I think that's a massive problem.
I just got the shakes hearing Tyron Stokes is the most important thing for. I would never want to be in a spot where that's true for my career. Um, Lastly, can we just take a moment to step back and laugh so hard at the fact that Tay Kenny chose Kansas and immediately is just like, yeah, if I didn't do this though, this is what I would have done. Like this guy's a generational content machine.
He's special. He's special. By the way, crazy he didn't make content out of the fight, right? Like that feels like a very take anything. Like, let me do interviews to talk about where they fought at.
You know, there's like video footage of this on Tay Kenny's phone that at some point is going to come out, or it's like just like grainy cell phone footage, and in the middle of it, Tay Kenny leans in. It's like 6'7" while they're fighting. Oh man, this is fun. Yeah, I'm just dying at the yeah. If I didn't do what I just did, I would have done this. Like that's such a Carter Elliott and me move. Like yeah, if I didn't gain 20 pounds eating pizza and seltzers, I probably would have done like hard 90. Probably. But yeah, just a thought. It was second on my list of options, you know? It's crazy. Who cares? You didn't go there. Like, why? Well, what recruit gives this quote, man? I've never heard a recruit ever sign up for someone and be like, well, I would have gone there. Like, what?
He's never gonna be like fully committed to anywhere until the writing is like his signature somewhere in my head. Like until I know he has no possibility of going somewhere else, I'm gonna think he is.
I would not say this is a great sign for Tay Kinney and Kansas's future. Like, yeah, if I didn't marry Mal, I probably would have gone back and dated 2 of my exes. Right? Like, who says that? It's insane.
That is, it is when you frame it like that, it's absolutely insane. Because at first I'm like, yeah, like not a great quote, but like whatever. You know what I mean? Like he's basically just announcing his top three. Now that you frame it the way you did, if I'm Kansas, Tyron might now be Bill Self's most important recruit. Because like if he doesn't get Tyron, maybe Take It, he just flips.
Yeah, like if I didn't love my wife, like that girl that cheated on me on the cruise would she'd still be an option. Like if I didn't have Riley Davis doing Riley Fridays. I'd probably work with like Brian Ralph. It's crazy. It's insane to do this. It's wild. All right. Deep breaths, everybody. Tay Kenny finally chose school. It's crazy.